Good morning, everyone, and happy Wednesday. And I'm back. It's been 14 days. I can tell because Restream holds my videos for 14 days, and the last video expired just now. So there we go. That's a long time to hold videos, but it's also a long time I haven't been here. So we've got to work today on our our that patch that we were working on before. So, excuse me, I swallowed cricket there. So our dear and beloved friend who ordered this and requested this needs it in vector so that he can give it to the patch person who's making patches. So today's job is to make patches or make it go to vector so that it'll be patched. So that's what we're doing here. I'm sorry, I had to plug the other stylus in. It was running away. So what we've got here is we've got the convert layer function, right? And this is already a raster layer. And for those of you who are not familiar with the difference between raster and vector, this will be a great show for that because you will see both. So we've got here vector layer, expression color, bleeding mode. I don't know. Blending mode. Blending mode. It should just still be normal. And then we're going to check the vector settings to make sure maximum line width. I don't want to go 20 pixels. Let's do 10 because I don't think any of these lines are more than 10. Density threshold. I don't even really know. I mean, I've never tried this before. So we're going to try that. We're going to give that a shot and see what happens. Didn't turn out bad. Did make some of these lines pretty uniform, though. Take a look here. Let's see what we've got. Zooming in. So what is a vector line? I'm allergic to my show. A vector line now means that I can take this tool, which is a control point tool, and you can now see the lines have control points. So I can take it and I can move it, right? But I'm not liking the fact that it's not anti-aliased. So I'm going to, because see, this is anti-aliased. See how that is? It's all kind of blurry around the outside edge. And it asked me if I wanted to go anti-alias. So we're going to see. We've never done this before because everything that I do is always in raster, which is just little squares here. I mean, okay, we're going to put it into vector. I'm going to check the vector settings. I'm going to turn on anti-aliasing. I'm going to put it onto medium. Okay, and that should help us a little. And density threshold. Yeah, I'm not sure what the density threshold is, but I'll hit OK. Then we'll hit OK again and see what happens. There. And that looks pretty much exactly like what we had before. But now I've got control over all of the lines. You can see them all flashing here. And what this means is that I can, look at that. That's interesting. Right? Like, why is that not a line? We're going to take the selection tool because I know one of the things we can do is work on all of this, right? Not just a little bit, but work on all of it and simplify it a little. There is a way to simplify some of this. Yeah, this brush here, right? this is a brush, and I can come through here and I can just simplify that line. All right. When I do this, a lot of it's not making a lot of difference, right? We're not seeing a whole lot of difference here. But we're seeing some difference. I think the simpler the line, the easier it'll be. I'm making a coloring booklet. No, I'm not. Hey, Brent. No, Luna. Actually, this is something that Joe wants, so I'm making it for Joe. And so he needs it in vector format so that we can give it to a patch maker, so she can make a patch. If we go too far, though, if we go too far, it gets a little out of hand here. So I'm going to be careful around the square points, because we can simplify this and we can simplify that. Right? I want to simplify through here. That was too much. Lost too much detail. Yeah, it is. It does look like a nifty coloring page, doesn't it? It looks kind of cool. So, but yeah, he wishes to have a patch made, which is nifty. So that is nifty, and we will do that. So all I'm doing here is I'm simplifying the lines a little, right? Because these lines are a little rough right up here. And so we're kind of doing that. We're going to go in here. You can kind of see what's going on here. Good. We'll take the normal control point. And this one's control point, like we could see that it's already way out here. We don't know what it's doing. I don't think it knows what it's doing. So I'm just going to clean it up. Make it look kind of Art Deco in its own little way. Put that there. Put this here. There we go. And this guy, the problem is these guys here, they got too rounded, right? We kind of cleaned up the snake's head over here. And when we did, this stuff back there got too rounded and it needs to be squared. So we're going to have to do something about this. And I feel like actually this entire upper section may have gotten too, I got a little overzealous. Yeah, and maybe you are right. I don't know. I don't even know why I said maybe you were right. I know for a fact you've done this before. So you are definitely right. But you know, the old graphic artist credo, I don't ask. I just the client wishes to do something, and so I do it as the client wishes to do it. So, and that's okay, right? We don't need to worry about that. We don't need to worry about that guy. But one of the things that we can do is pinch the vector line here. That won't work like I want it to. Wheel. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I have no idea why he needs. Wow, it has decided to do like weird vector lines like that. That's a weird vector line. Yeah. Oh, sure. 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 Yeah. And I don't know why. It also, I've also noticed one very important thing that happens a lot in commission work, and that is the the embroiderer, you know, Joe will go in and ask, "Hey, how should we do this?" And the embroiderer will say, "Well, the ideal situation would be for you to do it in vector, you know, although we can do it in raster." And he will write down vector. Okay, you know, and then he contacts me and says, "I need it in vector." And I go, "Okay." I mean, it's going to take us an extra 2 hours, but didn't, I didn't tell him that, you know, we're just doing it because I was just thinking it won't take but a second. But now I'm looking at this and I'm like, as a vector drawing, it kind of is wiggy a little here. So, but I mean, that's one of those things. I didn't tell him. Well, I actually had no idea because I don't deal in vector, generally speaking. The major reason I don't deal in vector is because this doesn't make any sense to me generally. I guess that's not exactly true. Vector is a different part of my brain doing vector. So I have a hard time doing artwork that's vector because I can't, I spend, this is more like the part of my brain that does um, maps and things like that. So it's a different part of my brain and a different thinking process. So I can't make something that looks as good in vector as I do in raster because I can't just draw. I can't just free draw, just draw something in vector. Yeah, especially when you talk about lines like this, right? I mean, this guy here is going from here up through half of this and then up and then around and up. So it didn't follow a logical path. So like that, I end up with these weird guys that don't exist sort of things. And what I will probably do is make this in I may make this I may have to go back and redo a lot of this. But I feel like the biggest problem is the interaction between the background and the foreground here. I feel like it's not as bad. The background and the foreground are the ones that are having this. So this stuff here needs to be redone, I feel like. But that's not that big of a deal. Right? Like I could go through here and just do that. I don't like the cutting threads part. Because now you're right. Now that you said that, I'm like, ooh, that's a solid point. I mean, there's a lot of broken lines. If you look here, like it'll run a thread to here and then stop at his thumb, and then have to start a new thread to go around this finger and then stop. And it's going to have to start another thread there and stop, and then start another thread there and stop. You know what I mean? Like, this isn't the most efficient way to do it for a patch. If you're talking about, like, as soon as you said that, this isn't as easy as just hitting the make it into a vector button. Now we've got kind of a more complicated problem. Yeah, let's see. I'm going to go back and I'm going to say Clip Studio to vector for embroidery. I'm not the first person to do this. Well, it looks like there's actually software out there for it. So what I may do, because it looks like there's software to purchase, and I'm not really into the idea of purchasing software, kind of just saying. You hate working from home. I like working from home. So why do you hate working from home? Well, yeah. So if I gave you a JPEG real quick, Luna, if I gave you a JPEG and it was a black and white JPEG, could your software make it into a logical one thread sort of thing instead of a whole bunch of other things like this is doing? Because I actually feel like at this moment, I'm probably doing more harm than good on this. Oh no. Brent. I'm sorry, man. My phone has been going insane. This complex. That's how complex. So my phone, Brent, I get you have been near somebody who has COVID, like warning every day now. I've gotten them every day for the last 3 days. I took I'm looking for the embroidery software. Well, okay, let's back up. I don't need to install any more software on this computer. It takes 45 minutes now to get totally up and running. It takes way too long. And we're getting to the point now where Photoshop takes a good 4 minutes just to get started. Premiere takes 4 to 5 minutes. I literally load them, go downstairs, do some dishes, and then come back up here before anything is ready to run. So we are already clogged up quite a bit on this computer. So I'm not installing anything else. The question really is, the vector conversion that I am doing, which is what was requested by the client, may not be the most useful thing. Yeah, actually, I went to King Supers and picked up the Binax test and took it on Sunday when I got the first warning that I had been near somebody who has tested positive for COVID. And that test came back negative. Um, Makes sense. Makes sense. I will recontact Joe and ask him about that. He's sleeping right now, so I'll have to message him tonight. Um, are you wary of the test, or are you wary of the results of the test? Because you know what astonishes me? Okay, so I just drove to Texas and was there for however long. I was there for a week. And then I drove back here. I flew to Texas. Oh, so I screwed up the first one I ever did because it says you have to put 6 drops in the little hole, and I put it in the other hole, the one that you're supposed to put the Q-tip in. So I put more drops in. And so it actually still came up with a negative result. It's just that it was all slimy and everything. Um, yeah, I will. I will. But this last time I did it exactly correct, even though the instructions were all in Spanish because I had thrown away the English booklet. So luckily I speak enough Spanish. It's completely and totally like, and really all I was doing was just counting on the fact that in medical terms, generally speaking, Spanish and English are close enough that you can guess pretty good. Um, and of course, when they wrote numbers, they would say 6 instead of putting it and writing it out in Spanish. They write the number. So 6 drops. So as long as it's like a pregnancy test, you put the 6 drops in the little doohickey, you swab the inside of both your nose, like you have to do 5 times around each side. And really what you want to look at is to make sure when you pull the Q-tip out, the Q-tip's wet, which is gross. Because that's what carries the COVID is your snot and your spit. So there's that. So then you do that and you put it in the little thing and it mixes with the fluid. You close the little booklet, you seal it, and you wait 15 minutes and the fluid gets on the tape, the little piece of tape in there. And if it reacts, you get 2 lines. If it does not react, you get 1. So that's how that works. It's like a pregnancy test, except you don't have to pee. So there's that. I will, Luna. I will alert Joe that I think I might be actually doing more damage than good, turning it into a vector. And maybe all I may be doing is messing up the embroidery machine. So I'm going to ask for clarification from the patch embroiderer to make sure that the patch must be in vector, or if it's we'd like it in vector, but we can handle it if it's in raster. So, and I will explain to him, I will say, I was talking to Luna, who, by the way, Luna, what a fortuitous time for you to show up on my show. Thank you very much. I mean, like, you've got the expertise and you just happen to be on the show, where I happen to be doing the thing that your expertise came to use for. So I really appreciate that. Thank you. It's like, that's cool. So we are going to do, I have another ongoing project. We have 3 ongoing projects at this point in time. So we're going to stop this guy, and we're not going to finish him because I'm actually not going to save the vector work that we were doing because it's not worth saving. If we're going to do the vector work, I'm going to do... You're like, I should work, or I could watch Guy's show. Wait, I'm doing both. Well, that seems bummer. Okay. I'm like working and on my show. Weird. Okay, we're going to go out and we're going to finish the drawings for the Silver Pentacle 2. And that is because while I was stuck on an airplane and... Oh, the vector file was only like a few minutes worth of work. And honestly, I have the background as one layer and the foreground as another layer. I'm no longer needed here. My people need me elsewhere. It's actually great to see you, Luna. Thank you very much. I will. Let me finish what I was saying real quick there, which is well, yeah, Brent, and I appreciate that too. The vector file. If I'm going to vector that again, I already have the foreground as one layer and the background as a separate layer. So I will do those two as 2 different vector files of their own design. So if that becomes a thing, then that's what I will do. And that would be better than what we were doing. So anyway, we have finished. I had finished Nancy Hansen's boop. Hey, you didn't say solstice. My buddy was saying, Happy Christmas, since I won't see you, or Kwanzaa, or Festivus, and I'm like, you didn't say solstice. Okay. We finished Nancy Hansen's book, being me and the mouse on my shoulder. Finished Nancy Hansen's book because I had nothing else to read on the plane, and I could load her book onto my phone because I didn't think about it. Actually, that's not true. I did think about it. I was in the middle of Expanse Book 9, and it's a hardback. And I was like, do I really want to carry this with me on the plane? Because it's going to be extra weight and it's going to be difficult to carry. And do I really want to do that? So I went on ahead and didn't take the book with me, which was fine, but I didn't take another book with me either. So I didn't have a second book. So I got on the plane and I said, I've made this trip from Denver to Houston so many times, the flight from Denver to Houston, that it's routine, so much so that I forgot to take a book, which was fine, because really what I ended up doing was reading the rest of Silver Pentacle. Man, I'm all sneezy today. So I finished reading Silver Pentacle on the plane, and now I have the whole story. Okay, so riddle me this, Batman. The last 2 days I haven't blown my nose once. I've been here. I've been at my desk. I've been doing work. I've been doing the whole 9 yards. This morning, I get back to work here, and immediately I start sneezing, and my nose is all full of gunk. What's going on? I'm actually starting to believe I legitimately am allergic to work. Now I'm coughing because I swallowed crooked while trying to blow my nose. I don't know, man. Maybe I am legitimately allergic to work. Unfortunately, I have too much to do. So, I bring up the book. Bring up the book, bring up the book, bring up the book. Dance, dance. It's taking a second for it to load, if you're wondering. So, you get the guy dance. Yep, now it's time for me to finish the sketches that go with this book. So we're going to do this. I can't put the book up on screen, of course, naturally, because that would be. Yeah, I only have 32 gigs of RAM on here, which is why I have a problem. Now, the gal at the computer place had a suggestion. She said that some computer yame. Well, I know I have a single stick of it, but she had recommended that plausibly part of the problem is that when you have a single stick on this motherboard, it may need to be in slot 2, not slot 1. So that might be a thing. Hey, you know what? Do you have time for a mission, my good friend? If so, maybe that my fingerprint does match. Don't be dumb. If so, I'm going to go look. Yes, I'm going to go look at the computer motherboard and see what motherboard it is. And see if we can get an idea of whether that is the case for this guy. Yeah. It's designed in Type A. It's Type A. And looking along the edge, is it going to say it underneath the fan? Because that'd be my luck. We're looking for something that would tell me what it is. Or not. Well, this isn't very helpful, is it now? The good news is I have this huge window on my computer screen. Or my computer box, which allows me to look in here. Well, it does say it's gigabyte, and I don't know. ERP ready, designed in Taipei. It does not say what board it is. It's not saying what board it is, so I'm looking to see if it will say what board it is. There we go. Because I conveniently have. I feel like its name is underneath the fan. Oh, wait. There it is. B365M DS3H. It's a gigabyte. It's the name manufacturer. So Bravo 365 Mike Delta Sierra 3 Hotel. Okay. I hope you got that. Oh, man. Did you get that? Whew. A lot of effort. Nope. Missed it. Okay. Did you really? Because you're eating me. You know what I will do? Get the camera out. You got it. Okay. Then I won't use the camera. Okay. So that's the model. And the question I've got is, if you can find documentation tells me I should put my one solitary lone chip in DDR slot 1 or DDR slot 2, or whether we should do Dance Dance Revolution. Because then that would be DDR slot me. Okay. While you're helping me on that one, I'm going to do the work. So we got work. Move this over to here because it can't be here. It's got to be here. We'll bring this here. Okay. We can search. Didn't want to find replace. Okay. And we'll put this, and we will bookmark. I'm just bookmarking at this point in time so that I can find all these illustrations. All right. Insert. Let me do this. Insert bookmark. I'm just adding comments. No. You found the manual. I will download that. Thank you, my friend. Elo 6. This is actually kind of a pain in the butt. Although I'm giving props to Ron, because he has added a number of these, but he uses the word ILO, ILLO, which makes it actually pretty easy to find. And there are nine of them. All right. Now I have them. You DM'd me the manual. Well, I mean, part of this, of course, is that I may have the manual, but do I have the wherewithal to use the manual? We'll have to see. Important. I have a folder in here that is for my computer. What I'll do is inside this folder, I will add a folder called that. And I will download it, and now it is downloaded. Probably can't understand it. I don't know why you'd think that I would be able to understand this. Well, I get that. I mean, the problem is that it costs like well, you're talking about $400 is what you're talking about, because it's about $200 for another 35 to 36 gig or 32 gig chip, and it's $200 for an SSD. And I don't really have $400 right now, but the point that I'm trying to kind of get at is, I mean, many people are saying it's kind of like, I feel like the analogy I was saying to my wife was, I get what people are saying, that I should get an SSD. But the problem is that I'm kind of like, I feel like what's going on here is something else is happening, because I got a super fast computer with 16 gigabytes of memory in 2 slots, and then it was running slow. So then I got a faster hard drive. I got a second hard drive, and it was running fine, and then it was running slow. And now people are like, get an SSD and get another 32. And I feel kind of like I'm driving a car with a flat tire, and everybody is trying to get me to put a turbo in there, because the reason I'm going slow is that I just don't have enough power in my engine. And it's really, I'm shredding this tire, because the tire is totally flat. but we're not addressing the tire. We just keep putting bigger and better engines in the car at great expense. And somewhere along the line, somebody's going to go, oh, your OneDrive was set to suck down every last ounce of processing power. We'll switch that and you'll be fine. And I'll have a great computer, super fast, does a lot. And like now it'll work really great. But I feel like that's what's going on. Like we have a setting set wrong somewhere. Because I keep getting more and faster and right? Exactly. We keep getting faster and faster computers, and we keep putting more and more pieces in here, and it seems to run fine. Then it bogs back down again. I have run virus check after virus check, by the way, just in case you're wondering, because of course that's the first thing we should do. I don't generally frequent sites that have viruses, but I would open the task manager just for you. There we go. Can you see it? No, not really. Can I make it bigger? No, not really. Can't really make this larger without making all of Windows larger. But I mean, we're running Acrobat now. But it's Chrome. Chrome is taking up 25% of my CPU right now. The OneDrive has 500 megs of memory going for it, but I wouldn't consider that to be necessarily a big problem. I mean, that's the thing, right? Performance. Click the performance tab. Okay. This is good because it's a big graph. You can see the big graph. So it's not using up all of the memory right now. We're only really using about 9 gigs of memory. And by the way, once a program is running, Startup tab. You'll notice disabled, 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 disabled. Cortana is enabled. Disabled. The EE Event Manager, fax reception, fax transmission. Google Drive, that might be something I can disable. Because I've disabled OneDrive on start because I was thinking that might have been it. Skype is disabled. Steam is disabled. GitHub update. I'm not even really sure when I downloaded GitHub. Right? And then UT Web, because somewhere along the line somebody had to make me. No, I don't need fax. In fact, it does make me wonder, why do we even have, I mean, shouldn't, at this point in time, fax functions should be relegated to, do you have a computer with a fax machine? Here, load this fax software for it. Instead of what we've got, which is everybody comes with default fax running software, which is running all the time, listening for a fax message. Where I haven't used a fax machine in 100 years. Last time I used a fax machine was probably before I went to Japan. No, it was while I was in Japan, because Japan's really big on fax machines. Beep, 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 boop, boop, boop. I don't use Cortana. I mean, even the Creative Cloud I've disabled. I mean, I've disabled all of the Adobe stuff. because it takes forever for Adobe to. And so usually, well, and that actually explains why Photoshop takes forever to load the first time, because I've disabled all of the Creative Cloud crap to give me more of a load time. And so the first time you load Premiere, yeah, it really is. But we're down to EE Event Manager. I'm not sure what that is. Google Drive, Intel Driver and Support Assistant Tray, Pin Tab Service, which, that's important, and the Realtek Audio Universal Service, and Windows Security. So these are the ones that are enabled. And the Google Drive doesn't need to be enabled. But we're still, I don't know. Though, now at least I can kind of see why Photoshop takes forever to load. Because Photoshop, every time I load Photoshop, it's got to load all the things that are normally loaded. Like the CCX process has to be loaded, the GC Invoker utility, Updater Startup utility, and Collaboration Synchronizer, and the Acro tray. All of those are, and then the Creative Cloud Desktop. All of those things. No, I'm using two. I have a C drive, and then I have a D drive, which is a 6 terabyte drive, but nothing's installed out on the D drive. Everything's installed in the C drive. But the C drive is like a 7200 RPM drive. It's still pretty solid. It's not like it's a little drive. It's a pretty big drive. And it is a 2 terabyte drive. So it's got space. Although we're short on space now. But that was because I just discovered that once I reinstalled Google Drive and OneDrive, they both changed from putting the Google Drive and the OneDrive out on D drive and instead stuck it out on C drive again and filled up all of C drive with my Google Drive. So we had to go fix that. So we're still in the process of it moving things because, of course, as soon as I turn off my computer, which I did for the last 2 weeks since I wasn't here, once I turned it off, we had to do something else with it. So, and like I said, once everything is loaded and running, it's fine. I'm not seeing a lot of slowdown like in program. I can run any game, and once the game is loaded, it runs at normal speed. The game runs fine. We play Borderlands every week, and I play No Man's Sky relatively often. And No Man's Sky is cutting edge, and it's set for all things set to top. It's just starting up. That's the problem. And now that I think about it a little bit, it's starting up Photoshop and Premiere are a pain in the butt, but it's also starting the computer. So the computer takes, when I hit reset, it'll take a good 10 to 15 minutes before it actually gets to the point where you can type in the password to log in. Then, at that point, it still takes another 20 to 30 minutes before the mouse stops doing the jerk, 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 and clicking on anything sometimes will work and sometimes it won't. And you can tell that whatever is going on, it is seriously processor heavy for another 10 to 20 minutes after startup. So the front door was opened. So you can still see that that's kind of going on. Something is happening. So usually what I'll do is if I have to restart this computer, I'll restart it and go downstairs, do the dishes, or go take a shower or something that takes up 30 minutes. Although showers don't take up 30 minutes, but get coffee and stuff like that. But you get the idea. I'll go do something like that and then come back after 30 minutes or 40 minutes, and then it's stabilized. Unless I have to open Photoshop or Premiere. If I have to open Photoshop or Premiere, and then we've got to wait another 10 minutes while it loads all the Creative Cloud crap that it didn't load. Which, if I left the Creative Cloud crap on the startup, that's when it gets into the 45-minute range. Disabling Creative Cloud got rid of some of that startup slug. So I'm not sure what the problem is. But like I said, I feel like we've got a flat tire, and people keep telling me to put in turbos and superchargers, and they're putting in bigger and better engines, but we've got a flat tire. That's what I feel like. We're not addressing something, or it's stuck in first gear all the time. Maybe bloatware. That's what I'm thinking. Maybe there's some bloatware. I noticed that when we talk about performance and we go back to processes, Chrome is taking up 700 megs right now. And literally, Facebook's open because you sent me something. But literally, start menu open. Schmuss. Can you read any of that? So here's a start menu. Got a lot of Adobe on here. I do have 2 versions of Adobe Illustrator. And I have Classic and normal Lightroom. And I have 2 versions of Character Animator. I could probably kill some of these Adobe stuff that's on here. I know it's Chrome in general. It wants me to take a break. So, if you're not standing, you should be standing. So, but the things that are in here, I've got Blender, I've got this zip file program. I don't know. Clip Studio, obviously very, very important. Levelator is still in here for audio. Cortana is still on here. Corel Painter. So I put Painter on here. I got Painter and all of those. We're going to start seeing if I can't use those instead of using Adobe, and see if I can't downgrade from that and continue working. Daz, Deluge. Deluge just has a website. Okay. Discord. I have a duplicate file, photos thing that I'm looking for, which, that is some rando software, so that could be it. Epson's my printer. FontForge, because I'm doing that. Genshin Impact was an interesting game, but I didn't like it as much. So I could probably uninstall that. Drive, Chrome, Google Earth, I use a lot. Groove Music comes with a stupid computer, and I can't get rid of it. Kernel Video Repair, I was working on a video that had screwed up. So I never really got it to. My buddy Ian was over here and installed this, but that was just a couple of days ago. That was just before I left. So 2 weeks ago, I guess. Mail Maps Editor, Microsoft Office. Okay. Why is Office in Japanese? So it's an interesting thing. I'm bilingual. I speak English and Japanese. But it's interesting how I kind of feel for people who, like, their grandmother only speaks Japanese and uses the computer, and they speak English and use the computer. Because it seems like once you tell a computer that you speak both languages, it gets confused quick as to what that means. So I'm like, okay. No notification manager for Acrobat. I have an in-bus. I don't know. Natural voice speaking is kind of fun. Oh, there's a PC health check. Why do I have a feeling that if I click that button, bad things happen? Because I did not install anything on here. Restream, obviously, has a chat function. I didn't know that. Steam, all of my Steam games, Stellar Data Recovery. Also, so that came from somebody had mentioned that I could get a connector for those old hard drives. And so I did. And we plugged the old hard drives in. And I actually managed to pull a lot of stuff off of those hard drives that got crushed. Sims, because that's important. Unity Engine, VideoLAN, Visual Studio, Voice Recorder, Winamp. It really whips the llama's ass. Accessories, Word. I think these two are depreciated. And then I've got Xbox stuff. Don't ask me. It's your phone. And Zoom, because you have to have Zoom nowadays. CC3 Plus is a map making studio or map making program, which I promise you I won't use during the show. However, it does do star maps. So anyway, so that's what I've got. I don't know. Chrome seems to be the biggest egregious thing, but I've got like this anti-malware service executable going. I don't know what that is. Really, honestly, I think there are two culprits here. And I think culprit number one is my keyboard, right? Because I've got one of those lighted up, really pretty keyboards. And it has keyboard software that came with it. And I think that is my first thought, maybe. Maybe it's the keyboard. Culprit number two, suspect number two, is I think it might be something to do with my NVIDIA drivers, because I can see those two right here. Right? There's my NVIDIA drivers. And I'm running this Node.js JavaScript stuff. I don't even know what a DSA service. Oh, it's driver support. Right? And some of these other things in here, I'm just kind of like, Adobe. Well, okay, so we did yesterday. I was running Premiere. Day before I was running Premiere so that I could do Geek Tank's episode. So Geek Tank's episode, which you may have noticed, was edited. And it was edited because I just tried to just stick the opening and ending credits on and then re-upload it. And then found out that StreamYard won't let me load anything longer than 1 hour. And it was 1 hour and 9 minutes long. So I had to go through and cut 9 minutes. And since I was cutting 9 minutes anyway out of it, I just went ahead and added pictures. I had pictures. I was going to load the video, but there was another one of those things. So it took 3 or 4 hours to do Premiere. I closed everything on this machine, just running Premiere. And yeah, I know, right? So I was already in there. But I was just in Premiere, and everything took forever. Like I'd hit play and it would take 30 to 45 seconds before the video head would move. Enough times that the first couple of times I was play. And of course, then when it finally moved, it would go play, you know, because it would play, pause, play, pause, play, pause, play, pause. So I realized I needed to hit play and then wait 30 seconds. And then it would play for 30 seconds and then the audio would stop. Like the video would keep going, but the audio was dead. And I could see on the audio track that there was definitely audio, but it wouldn't play it out of my speakers. And then all of a sudden it would play the audio. So it was like it was really having a hard time with that. I had the video of the truck in the sandstorm, and I was trying to add that in, and just adding it. I mean, I went, took a shower, got out of the shower, went and made lunch, came back up here, ate lunch, and it was only this way much into a video. It was only 3 minutes long. It should not have taken whatever that was, 45, 50 minutes to import a video. It was 3 minutes long. So we have some kind of something going on. There's 32 gigs of memory. I grant that it's only one stick, and I grant that it's not on a dual bus. But there was nothing else running on this computer, just Premiere. And I have an i5, and I mean, what are we dealing with here as far as a computer goes? Anyway, let's see. I've forgotten how to find this stupid thing. Okay. Bring up our system information. Well, yeah, but I mean, when I was running on a much smaller machine, I could scrub and do stuff like that too. I mean, it wasn't. I wonder if there's any conflicts. You seeing some of this here? Oh, I'm totally aware, but what I'm talking about is I have a faster, meaner, and more dramatic machine, and it's running worse than the one that we had before, that we built this faster, meaner, and more dramatic machine to fix. Like the previous computer had a 1 or 2 second lag on scrubs, right? And it's not like I was dealing with big video. This was just a video that we downloaded off the internet. It should be super low resolution, super low. I wasn't working in 8K. I was working in not even 2K. You know what I mean? Like the video wasn't even 2K. So we shouldn't have been seeing a problem with it, right? And that's part of what worries me. Oh, hey, here's the model. I went down there and crawled around, and here's the model of the motherboard. Okay, so we're running an i5 9600K CPU, 3.7 gigahertz, 6 cores, right? This is, I believe the last one was a 2-core i5, and we've gone to a 6-core i5, right? You can see why I'm confused. It's running worse than the previous version of this, the previous computer. And that's bothering me. It's a 6-core i5. And I cannot believe that I know, right? I cannot believe that the entire problem that we are running into is because I don't have an SSD for my C drive. You know what I mean? Like, that's what I'm having an issue with. I can't believe that all of this is due to the fact that I don't have an SSD on my C drive. It wouldn't matter anyway. Video is coming off of my D drive, which is a hard drive, and I wouldn't want that on an SSD anyway, because video takes up terabytes in a big hurry. So if I got a 2 terabyte SSD, I'd only be able to install 4 programs before I couldn't run video anymore. You know what I mean? Like, that would be an issue. Because the video, when you're editing video, takes up a lot of hard drive space, and always has. But I've been running video. I mean, part of the reason we're going to keep talking here. Part of the reason that Geek Tank isn't edited is because I've never had a computer that could edit video at the speed of which I can edit video. Yeah. So it's kind of funny when I trigger my poor Alexa over there, who still speaks in Japanese. I did figure out how to get her to turn off all the lights. That was complicated. So anyway, one of the biggest things that we need to do with this computer is edit video. Right? We need to edit video. That's one of the biggest things that my computer has always needed to do. But this behavior, the way that it was when I was trying to edit the Geek Tank episode Sunday that we recorded on Sunday for Monday, that performance was worse than the computer that we had 6 years ago that was editing Geek Tank live on set in our basement. And I thought having a 2-second lag was irritating. You know? So anyway, that's why I'm saying I feel like we have a flat tire and people keep telling me to put in a bigger engine. I will put in a bigger engine. I'm all about putting in more memory and putting in an SSD and all of those things. I don't have a problem with that. What I'm worried about is that we keep putting in bigger and bigger engines, and we've got a flat tire that we need to address. Oh yeah, they ran a bench test and it ran really well. I don't remember what the bench test was. So the guy who built it was one of those really genius-y sort of computer people. And I'm going to move this to there and down there. I like it covering the lights on the fan. And there's no reason for it. Like, there's nothing evil about the fan or anything like that. It's just that it makes it look symmetrical because then all the little fan blades come out of my microphone. And that's all. It's just a aesthetic thing. Anyway, he was one of those really genius-y sort of computer people. I mean, like, he knew instinctually how to do, but he was really bad at record keeping. So all of the stuff he did was great. The machine was pretty cool. Right? Exactly. Looks like a throwing star. The machine he built was pretty cool. And that's what I was saying. The thing that bothers me is it ran really good, then it started to kind of fall off, which makes me think we've got some kind of bloatware going somewhere in here. That just needs to be debloated, you know. So it's all good. Thing I really am, speaking of weird things about Alexa, if I say, computer, play music, Oh, it actually will figure it out. Computer, stop music.
最新のニュースです。from ABC ニュースから。From ABC News.
Computer, stop.
Sherry Preston. The rapid uptick in COVID
See?
cases because
Computer, yame. Like, that's really strange. Oh, that's a bummer. It's okay, man. It's okay. Really, they want to take my computer into the shop and take a look at it. I don't want to give them my computer because I know that it'll be a week before it comes back. If I had known that it was going to take more than a week for me to do this entire process, or thought it, I knew, I just didn't think of it, I would have given them the machine while I was in Texas. That was the perfect time. It was shut down. There were no shows. I didn't have any work. You know what I mean? Like, nobody was waiting for me. So no work was on the docket. This would have been the perfect time to take it into the shop, because I love this shop. This guy, the guys in the shop, they're all eccentric, they're all weird, but they're all geeks. Like, the guy who runs the shop specifically hires geeks, and you can tell because they all have the quirky social quirks. Like, they don't quite fit in, but on the same token, encyclopedic knowledge of, memory and computer, and they all play games. All of them play games. I haven't met anybody in there who, I don't mean to cast bad shade on Geek Squad, because I think the idea behind Best Buy's Geek Squad was good, and I think that their concept was interesting, and I kind of wish that had worked better for them. But honestly, legitimately, I can tell computer geeks, because I used to be one of them and stuff like that. And like, there are aspects to computer geekdom that you can just see. They've got a favorite character that they play in some game. They've got, a favorite game. And I've met people at Geek Squad and they're like, "Oh, I don't play any video games." And I'm like, not to say that that's a requirement, but it is definitely a sign, you know? So anyway, the long and the short of it, not trying to cast, it's not like there's a stereotype, but you can sense it. You know what I mean? You like go in and you talk to the Geek Squad people and they're like, "Let me check the book." Memory. Does it have memory? No. I'm like, okay. So I've had that, not that literal, but I would take, like, you take your computer into Geek Squad and the first thing they do is say, we will charge you $50 to do a virus scan. And I'm like, I don't have any viruses. And they're like, well, we don't trust that. So we have to start with $50 to do a virus scan. And then, like, the last time I took it in, they found all these viruses. And I'm like, there weren't any viruses on there. I'm pretty aggressive. I'm not just relying on Defender, but I'm aggressive about viruses. And so, and the guy wouldn't tell me what viruses he found. He just found a whole bunch of viruses. So I think their software just tells them they've got viruses. I don't know. Anyway, I have a problem with Geek Squad. I don't feel like they're geeks, whereas this shop is a little mom and pop shop here in Arvada. And I love these guys. They're all like you and me, they're all geeky. I have a lot of faith in people who sound like they're geeky. You know what I mean? Like, you sound geeky to me and you sound legit. Oh, Brent, my friend. Oh, Brent. So we have gone on that one for a while. Let's get back to work. Because I'm no longer a computer person. Used to, when I was younger, I was a car person. I worked on cars. I have a lot of information in my head about cars. I'm not your standard car driver. But I don't want to work on cars anymore. I'm done. You know what I mean? Like, I did that. And that was a phase. I'm over it. I was a computer person and I built my own computers numerous times. I know what a hard drive is. I know what sticks of RAM are. I can put the sticks of RAM in my computer, stuff like that. But I don't know the different types of DDR. So I'll put the wrong stick in. I know that. I can put the wrong type of memory in, and I could really make my computer's life miserable. I wonder if that's the problem. Wonder if we have the wrong kind of memory in there. That might be it. And I'll tell you why. I went into this little mom and pop shop and I said, "Hey, I'm having some real slowdown problems." And the gal that was there was like, "Okay, um, this means I'm going to have to write this down because we're not going to the BIOS right now. XMP. Anyway, went in there and I said, let's get a 32 memory stick for the computer. And I had said to her, not you, I had said to her at the time, I thought the fan covered slots 3 and 4. So we couldn't do pairs. So I was just going to do 132. It turns out that the fan only covers slot 4. So we can do 1 and 3. But anyway, I didn't know that at the time. That's fine. So I went and purchased it, and it cost $200, right? I went and purchased this single stick of 32. I just went back in recently and talked to them, and I said, "Hey, I'm having problems with it." And they said, "Well, okay, what? Let's look up your account." And they didn't know what the motherboard was. And now I'm looking at this, and now we know what the motherboard is. I'm wondering if maybe they gave me a stick that doesn't work well with my motherboard. Right? Plausibly. It could happen. Right? Right? Huh? That might be it. I don't need to have this up. Well, maybe I do. Maybe I'll look at it later. All right. Maybe. It might be. Oh, man, you're going to make me climb under there again. It might say it on the spine. Right? And it might say it on the spine. What speed it is. So let's take a look. And it's a G dot skill. And over here it says DDR4 3600. So it is DDR4 3600. So it's not that then. And I don't know, maybe. All right. Okay, well, let's get to work. So that wasn't it. Now we know a whole bunch of stuff, though. All right. All right. I don't think this is going to work like you think it will. Are you trying to get to your iPad? Can you do something else for 30 minutes? Thank you. All righty. In the tunnel below ground, Vixie holds a knife to Alfie's neck. He's crouched over as his hands are shackled to his ankles. So we've got 3 Vixies in a row here. So we got Vixie here. She's pretty mad. Let's not use this pen. Let's use this pen. All right. And we will do that. Are you messaging me? Again. My phone's way over there now. All right. I'm going to be holding a knife right here to Alfie's throat. Poor Alfie. Who is shackled to his own legs. Poor guy. I have to kind of figure that out here. not making this easy. Is this particular picture here. So Alfie is shackled to his own legs, and I don't know how she's going to be able to get her hands around his neck to hold a knife to it if he's shackled to it. So if he's shackled to his own I don't know who you are. Oh, I hope you're not Excel saying you're about to turn off the power to my house. Somewhere this week, Excel's going to show up to replace the meter outside. Or next week, anytime this week, next week. They haven't told me. What they did was they called and said, "Hello, this is Excel Energy. We will replace your meter sometime between 9 a.m. and 6 p.m. anytime in the next 2 weeks business days. There will be a power interruption. Thank you." And that was all I got. And I'm like, meh. It was pretty funny. So, they might be here now to shut off our power. Or they might not. I know. I was like, that's helpful. I mean, I guess really we could kind of rule out Christmas Day, maybe Christmas Eve. Something. It still makes me laugh, though. So we're going to take this guy, we're going to shrink him down a little. Move him over here. And okay. And deselect. And fill with white. Which apparently isn't white. Who knew? Okay, there we go. So, yeah, anyway, Excel. It's a thing. Now, these are just rough sketches because we want to just give the idea of what's going on in here. And they are now in an underground. They were in an underground last book, too. I feel like they're always in an underground. Right? It's cleaning us up. So we've got Alfie. On the glowing orb. Okay. All right. Rereading that scene. We've got all the people. We've got Jordan here. So the main dude here is holding his hands out like so. Sort of tell everybody, hey, it's okay, right? And then he likes long coats, so we'll do that. He likes floofy shirts, so we'll give him a floofy shirt. Like so. Right. And he's too big for this picture, but that's okay. That's why we do these things here. And him standing like this at the top of this frame. Like so. Deselect. Right. Okay. And then we have Aletta here. And she is ready to torch. I feel like we've got way too much. There we go. And we got Aletta here. Put her here. And she is about to torch. And maybe her head's turned this way. Actually, I think the actual statement says one hand out. She's ready to torch her with one hand, though. Torture. Okay. I'm easily entertained. Okay. And then we've got Zephrine standing here. a piece of driftwood under her arm, which she's holding on to. Right? And then we've got Alfred, who's standing here. Did he have... Okay, Alfred's actually here. Because he was holding on to her a second ago. Onto Vixie. So he's going to be standing right here. Right? And she's going to be standing right here. Holding a blaster. I'm trying to give them all sort of an action pose. They're kind of pushing in. Right? She's going to be holding some kind of blaster here. You got long hair. Vixie does. So we're going to put the long hair on here. Okay. I'll go in here and kind of clean that up and clean that up. Give her some hair. And she's just aiming the blaster at Jordan. And you got this kid here. And the old grizzled salty guy is there. And that puts the concentration is right there on that. So I kind of am looking. I want everybody to kind of see that we have this setup here where we've got kind of looking at things from here, right? There we go. Kind of doing that. His jacket's kind of doing that. We got you back here. All of these guys are preparing to take action, with the exception of Zephrine, who's holding on to there we go. Perfect. We'll move on here. Okay, this one's a funny. I like this one. All right. So we have a glowing orb. And in the glowing orb is Jordan. And we've got this kid who is tied to a rock in the harbor. Avisovax. Avisovax. I thought he was on a piece of driftwood. Anyway, he's got ropes that coil around him. And he's tied pretty tightly to this rock. I thought it was a piece of driftwood. I'm rereading here to make sure it's not a piece of driftwood. It says the instruction. Yes, the instruction from Ron is on an outcrop rock in the harbor. Teenage thief Willie is on his back, ropes tied about his arms, looking at the face of Jordan, speaking to him from a small floating shining orb. But I felt like he went out to sea somewhere along the line. Maybe not. Let's see where he is. I'm going to go back in the book. So I really, really appreciate being able to read this first. But it's got to go back quite a ways. And this is the final fight of the book right here. And boy, we have to go back quite a ways in the book, don't we? Sea boiled around him, and there was a feeling of being carried just above the surface. Willie Teller wasn't sure if he was already dead or just delirious with pain and dreaming of it all as he coughed and sputtered, retching and gagging out the seawater being pressed from his lungs. Okay. This is the last scene where we see Willie before Off-world star. Okay. Okay. He stowed the limp and still trust boy on a rocky prominence. Okay, so yeah, that stayed dry above the lapping waves, even at the highest tide. Okay, so he is in fact on a rocky outcrop, but he's trussed on this rocky outcrop. So give him some rocks here, like this, and we have just the ocean out here. All right, we'll put some ropes here as well. And I'll put him on a board because I think that's actually what it was he was on a board. Give him some rocks here to deal with. There you go. Okay, trussed up on the board there. And then I'm going to make this a little smaller. There we go. All right. 5 minutes left in the show. I feel like we're doing good here. Let's take a look at illustration 8. There are 9 illustrations in here, and I'm going to do a preliminary cover for them too, just in case. So this is illustration 8, 9, and then a cover prototype. And we'll see what happens. Because I did the cover for the last one, and in case they want the cover this time, I'll do it too. And this one's pretty easy. We got Jordan here. And he's holding the character Roan. And kissing him on the forehead. Probably shouldn't hold him with both hands. Specifically says that so I'm going to have him holding the icon with the dolphin. He's looking at it. There's the icon with the dolphin. I am broadcasting on Friday. I think so. I think I'm broadcasting on the 24th. Because it's New Year, or it's Christmas Eve, New Year's Eve. Christmas Eve, but it's not. I don't think I will be broadcasting though on the 30th. So Friday the 30th, no, but the 24th, yes. So I'll see you on the 24th, but I'll also probably see you tomorrow because tomorrow is the 23rd. And I'll be here again because we've got work to do. So I'll see you then. You can join me then. I'm actually going to go on ahead and save here. Because we got Elio 8 done. I feel like we're doing good. We'll do back to the main computer. back to the main screen. And we can go on ahead and get going. Oh, somebody's got a Model 3. Right. We had the portable ones, but main PC. Actually, I didn't even mean to use the C word or the PC word. Really, what I meant was main screen, bring it back to the main camera, which is you. Okay. Well, that's what we're going to do. I'm going to leave a little early today and going ahead and go. So we're going to just a couple minutes early. That way I can tell Alex that we've got time for me to go walking with him today. So I will see you, Master Camera. I will see you tomorrow if you are testing. If you are not, I hope you don't have COVID. And I will see everyone else tomorrow as well. I'm glad to be back in the saddle. I feel a whole lot better. I'm glad you let me take time off because I feel a whole lot better, and I really do. Until then, though, you know how this goes. Keep your eyes on the stars, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye. Computer, good night.